the air conditioning becomes more effective, and once the temperature reaches 19, you get the result, and everything is, proper. So this automatic climate control is again an example of control systems. The objective was to get a temperature of 19 degrees. The result initially was not in tune with the objective. The air conditioning started, it started to cool more, and once the temperature 19 was reached, the compressor started to work at a constant rate, and nothing was changing. Similarly, you have such objectives and results which may not necessarily be electrical signals. So please try to remember that when you're studying control systems, you're not just studying some mathematical functions being given as input and some mathematical functions coming out as output. Because output over here is a result, something that can be controlled, something that cannot be controlled. Objectives are something that you desire. So please remember that, and do not confuse it with this signal and system definition. This signal and system definition is a subset of this control system block diagram, but it is not vice versa. So I repeat again, control systems are those systems which convert objectives to desirable results. If the results are desirable, we are very happy. If the results are not desirable, that means the results are not in tune with the objectives, you have to change the control system. All right. So this is a conceptual understanding of what control systems is. This is a very elementary block diagram, and we will explore it further in its subtypes as we proceed further. But the next question that probably comes to mind is, where are these control systems used? Where are control systems applicable? You have to deal a little bit with my handwriting right now. I'll become better as I proceed writing on these tabs. So you have to excuse me there. So, where are the control systems applicable? And the answer is, the control systems are everywhere. Your car in itself is a control system. The objective is to travel from one point to another. If you get it, you're happy. If you don't get it, you call a mechanic. There are some, inside a car, you have different kind of control systems working, like at automatic climate control. You may have some fuel indicator, that is again a system in itself. These days, some of the advanced versions of cars, they have rain sensing wipers. That in itself is a control system. Temperature, pressure in tires, all that assessment that comes on your dials, they are all control systems. Your anti-braking system, that's a control system. So automobiles, we all know, we have all seen automobiles, and automobiles is one very easy example to understand that control system is very much a part of this sector. Let's take manufacturing, for instance. There are so many things that you see around you that get manufactured. I'm sure that you must have seen on televisions some factories where cars are being made. A robot comes, lays down the chassis, then there's another robot that comes and puts up a structure over it, then there is another robotic arm that welds all the doors. So this is called as an assembly line production. It is an assembly line production. So manufacturing assembly line production is a control system. You must have seen machine tool cutting. Sometimes when we require precision cutting, it's not always possible. It's not a good idea to cut things using our hands. So there are machines that would be programmed to cut whatever you want to cut at a particular angle in a particular shape. So manufacturing is also another sector where you see a great application of control systems. One thing that we see in movies so often are missile systems. what kind of missiles are really very, favorite among all the nations? They are all automatic guided, automatic missile. Guiding systems. What is the objective here? The objective is that you need to go and hit a target. Now, if you press a button and a missile launches from maybe your tank or maybe your aeroplane, and it does not go and hit the target, which is obviously moving, it will not be standing saying, come and hit me. So if that happens, the result is favorable. If it doesn't happen, then you need to, devise some method so that the missile that you fire goes and hits the target. Now, there are different kinds of guided missiles. There are some missiles that seek heat. So once something is moving, it will track on the heat. So there are infrared sensors there. They use the infrared sensors and they assess the velocity, they assess the position of the particle, or not particle per se, but the target, and they change their positions, they increase their speed, they decrease their speed. So there is a control system there in the missile itself, which is guiding the missile to the target. These missiles are often called as, by the Indian Army or Indian Air Force, as fire and forget. Once you fire, you forget about it because you know that it's going to go and hit the target. So automatic missile guiding systems are there, in which control systems are used. Control systems are also, they also find applications in space. So you have satellites, and these satellites, so if suppose this is your Earth, and there is a satellite that is revolving around. So there is a satellite here. So there is a trajectory in which this satellite is moving. Right now, the satellite may be getting its energy from the sun. So here is the sun, and the satellite has some solar power panels, and sun is giving it energy so that its engines are working properly and it is following this trajectory. But let's say that someday it so happens that there is solar dust and something, and the solar panels do not get charged up as much as they should, and the satellite it comes and it falls around this orbit. So now what do we need to do? We need to push it back again over here. So there are systems which are devised that will track the orbit of a satellite and figure out whether it is the correct orbit or not, and if it is not the correct orbit, it will push it back to the orbit. So all these kind of things are controlled in some way or the other by some systems, and those systems are control systems. Like in this case, the objective is that the satellite must rotate in a predetermined orbit. If the result is fine, the system is fine. If it is not rotating or not revolving in a predetermined orbit, then some mechanism will ensure that it goes and it starts to revolve in that predetermined orbit. So the system that does it is a control system. So I hope that you get a basic idea of what exactly is a control system and where all control systems are there. So you can see control systems everywhere. A human body in itself is a control system. We have so many systems working. You eat food, you do some work, you get tired, something in your body tells you that you are tired, and something in your body tells you that you need to eat food, and once you do that, you have energy again. So this is a loop that forms. You eat energy, you get energy, you spend energy, something detects that you have less energy, then you again eat, you get energy, and the process goes on. Sweating is another example of a control system. Why do you sweat? You sweat because you want to set an equilibrium between your body temperature and the surrounding temperature. So you lose water and you come to the equilibrium temperature. But then when you lose water and salt, something in the body tells you that you need to refill it. So you do that. So there are different systems working even in biology that can be considered as control systems. So I guess this is basically what I wanted to tell you in the first lesson. Two things: what are control systems and where these control systems are applicable. I will in the nutshell repeat everything again in just 2 minutes. Control systems are systems that transform objectives into results. If the results are in accordance to the objectives, the system works fine. If the results are not in accordance to the objective, then we need to change the system somehow. We need to modify it, we need to tune it, we need to tweak it. Please don't consider this much like what we generally are used to considering in signal and system, where xt is some input and yt is some output and their mathematical functions or electrical signals. The signal and system description of a system is a subset of a larger system which we call as a control system. Where are control systems? Everywhere. Every system that you see around you that works is a control system. There is no exception to it. So this is the end of first lecture that I wanted to give you. And if there are any doubts or any issues pertaining this, then I will discuss them right now before I go to the second lecture. Yeah. So now I'm open for some questions if there are any for this. It's a pretty much theoretical lesson, but if there are questions, I will take them now. Nobody wants to ask anything? Are you even there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, yes, how many people read the notes that I had put up?
Sir, I did a little bit.
A little bit, okay.
Sir, overview.
हाँ? अमन कुछ बोला था?
Sir, overview दिया था.
Overview दिया था, अच्छा, okay. So, I mean, earlier I was not able to make some videos, but I think from subsequent lectures I'll also be uploading some videos so that you get an idea of what we're going to be doing in the class and pretty much be a discussion and doubts. I think this is pretty simple and straightforward, the first lesson. So what we'll do is that we'll move ahead. Should I move ahead and cover something extra now? Can I proceed if there are no doubts on this?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, then I'll share the screen again and we'll move ahead. Okay, so now let's go into the types of control systems. And broadly speaking, there are two types. First is an open loop control system, and the second is a closed loop control system. These are the really two types of control systems that there are. Okay, now we'll study them one by one. So we'll take up open loop control systems. These are those control systems which do not have any feedback. Do you understand the term feedback? I'm sure that you've studied analog electronics. And can anybody tell me what is a feedback?
Sir, previous state का new function में एक और input helps so future को correct कर सकते.
Well, in a way it is, but over here, let me just rephrase it differently. So if no portion of the output is fed back to the input, we would call it as an open loop system. So you can just say that the present output is not fed back to the present input. then it is an open loop system. So basically, there is no circling and there is no completion of some sort of a cycle. That is what I call as open loop system. Just a second. Connection is a bit poor here, so I'm going to turn off the video. Yeah. So basically, what it means is that no portion of the output is fed back into the system. So this is basically what a open loop control system is. Now let us look at a block diagram of a open loop control system. So this is as follows. So we have something which we would call as a command input. I will explain each and every term, but let me just create a block diagram first. There is a command input that goes into something called as a controller. This controller produces what is called as the actuating signal. And this actuating signal is actually your objective that we have started before. Now this actuating signal or the objective enters into your control system. And it gives you what you know as controlled variable. We call it controlled variable, and which you know as result. So this is a very comprehensive block diagram for an open loop system. In the previous setting, what I did was that I had only included this much. This was what I had included in the previous lecture, and when I explained very crudely what a control system is. So there was objective, there was result, there was a control system. Now when I am explaining control systems in slightly more depth, I'm saying that the objective is going to be called as the actuating signal. This is what actually puts things into action. Controlled variable is the result. Now the reason why I'm calling it a controlled variable is that I can actually control this if I need to. You will realize that in an open system, this cannot actually be controlled, but it's a general term that can be applied to both this open loop and the closed loop. That is why it has been called as a controlled variable, and this is the result. It's variable because the output can vary depending upon whatever is the input. Now, you may wonder what this controller is. Generally, the controller are devices such as amplifiers, buffers, transducers, etc. I'll give you a small example. Suppose you want to send your voice signal from one place to another. So we'll say that the command input is your voice signal. Now what happens is that this voice signal is definitely not going to move as a sound wave. It needs to be converted into an equivalent electrical signal. So this controller will become a transducer. So your audio signal goes into a transducer, which is this controller, and gets converted into an electrical signal, which is called as the actuating signal. This is actually going to put another system into action, whereby this signal which is coming, which is an electrical signal, which is proportional to your sound, will be processed by this control system and will be sent and received at the other end and you'll get a result. Now, if the result is in accordance with the command input, we are happy. If it isn't, then we are not happy. If the result is in accordance to objective, of course we are happy. If it isn't, we are not happy. Because the command input and objective are basically the same thing, but maybe in a different form. This is your voice in an audio format. This is your voice in an electrical format, but it is your voice only. The electrical signals will have fluctuations which are proportional to the amplitude of the pressure signals in your voice. So long as if you say hello here, so there is a equivalent variation of hello and the result is hello at the receiver end. Of course, this control system includes transmitter, channel, receiver, everything. So if you say hello and you get hello, you're happy. But if you say hello and here you hear, I will break your head or something, I'll kill you or something, you are, you're not welcome or something, then there is a problem, right? So basically, if that is what is happening, then your control system isn't really working well. So please remember that this controller is actually a device which may change the form of the input and give you a signal which is an actuating signal. In many cases, there will not be a need of this controller at all. In some cases, you may not need this. But then there are some cases where you will need it. So to generalize things, we have a command input which goes into a controller which generates a signal which we call as an actuating signal. The word actuating means that this is actually that puts the control system into action. And this is actually your objective in the previous diagram. The control system does what it has to do and it gives you the result, which we will now start to call as a controlled variable. So long as the controlled variable is in accordance with the objective, or so long as the controlled variable is in accordance with the command input, we know that a control system is working fine. If it isn't, then we have a problem. We can correct it, or it could just be that we cannot correct it at all. So this is an open loop control system. Now, this may seem to be, a very simple, what is happening? Just a second. Yeah. So it may just happen. Just a second. Yeah, so now suppose you send us some command input and you get the desired result. So command input is maybe you want to fire a missile. So what do? You press a button. That is your command input. Now it goes into some system that generates an electrical signal which goes into the control system which lets a missile being fired, and this missile goes and hits the target. You are happy. But then not every time such a system is successful. Because if everything was possible with an open loop control system, there was no need for a closed loop control system. So what really happens wrong in an open loop control system that we thought that maybe we should introduce a closed loop control system? So sometimes what happens is that in presence of everything that exists over here, there is something which gets added, which is called noise. So noise is a very finicky thing. Finicky in the sense that noise is random. In the sense we don't really know what its exact value is going to be. Sometimes after a long consideration of various inputs and various outputs and studying them, we can most of the times define the range in which the noise amplitude will lie, but we can never be sure what the amplitude of noise at a particular instant of time is. That is why it is called random. So noise is random and it cannot be controlled. Now this noise can either be an external noise. External in the sense that, like for example, you press a button, it gets converted into an electrical signal, a missile is about to fire, but there is another say jeep that comes and hits the tank and it deviates the tank and the missile goes and goes, God knows where it hits. So the noise over here is another car hitting the tank. So it is something unwanted. Nobody could have predicted it, but it happened. So the noise could be external or the noise could also be internal. The control systems will obviously have some components in them. It will have mechanical components, it will have electronic components. So they will create their own noise. There could be heating, there could be thermal noise, there could be mechanical noise, whatever noise. Or there could be a combination of both. And both in itself are random. So this noise is going to come as an input to the control system along with the actuating signal. So what the actuating signal was supposed to do and give you a result will now not happen because there is added input noise along with it. And what will happen is that this result will no longer match the objective. This result will no longer match what is expected from the command input. And it is here that the open loop control system fails. Because once the noise goes beyond a certain value, once noise goes beyond a certain value, the result will not be in accordance with the command input. Or the objective. Once that happens, you just cannot do anything to the system. Now the system is spoiled. Noise has a way of entering the system. No matter what input you give, your result will always be flawed. It's like you have a spring that you stretch. You give it an input which is force. Up to a certain point, it is okay, and you get the shape back again. So maybe the result is that you want to get this shape back again. But then if you go beyond the elastic limit, that means you're adding something extra which can be considered as noise. You will never get back the original shape, no matter what you do. And once it happens, your system is spoiled forever. So that is the major drawback with open loop systems. Open loop systems are very simple to construct. There is no problem. There are no complications. But if you cannot control noise, which happens to be the case in most of the scenarios, then you are up for trouble, because once the noise dominates and reaches a certain threshold value and goes beyond it, there is no way the result is going to match the objective or the command input. And because of this reason, we thought of introducing another type of control system, which was a closed loop control system. Okay, so this ends lesson 2, and if there are any doubts or if there are any questions, I'm open to them now.
Sir, is controller not a part?
Yeah, Deepak bolo.
So is controller not a part of control systems? We have drawn it outside of that.
Yeah, well, it is not really a part of the control system per se, because the idea of a control system is to take a certain objective and convert it into results. The purpose of a controller is to basically get a certain actuating signal which the control system will accept as a possible input. Like for example, if you have to transmit, voice from one place to another, then you cannot transmit a sound signal. So the control system will be all the, it will be what you call as, a transmitter, a modulator, a channel, maybe, a receiver, then a demodulator, and then, noise removal, and then you're able to hear something after passing it through a transducer. But then the actual signal that has to go into the system must be an electrical signal. But you are saying something which is sound. So that has to be converted. So controller there is a transducer. So obviously it is not exactly a part of the controller, but outside the controller. In some cases, there may not be any need for a controller. Like for example, if suppose you have you want to send a missile to some place, you press a button. That button will initiate an electrical signal which will trigger something, and the missile will be fired. But if suppose you cut the trigger and you press the button still, there will be an electrical signal that will go up to the point the wire is, but it will not transmit to the system, which will actually be sending a missile. So, controller could be visualized as outside the control system for most of the things. But then again, you can think of things for which this controller could also be a part of the control system. But it is always safe to take it out and keep it there, because for particularly the reasons that I've explained, there could be many applications where it will not be a part of the control system. Yeah, I hope I've answered your question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. हाँ दक्ष बताओ कुछ पूछ रहे थे?
सर, तो हम ये कह सकते हैं कि क्लोज लूप सिस्टम इसलिए बना है कि नॉइस वाले फैक्टर को कम कर सके.
Essentially, you could say that yes, there are benefits of closed loop system, and noise reduction is noise. I would not say noise reduction. I would say noise controlling is one of the features. You will see in subsequent lectures that there are some other benefits also which are very important when you talk about control systems. Like for example, okay, let me just tell you what are the things that you actually require for something to work really well. Number one, the system should be robust. What do we mean by robust? Robust means that a system takes a certain input, it gives you a certain output, and it is insensitive to any noise or parameter variation. That means that if there is some noise, it will still give you the same output. If you change the temperature, pressure conditions, or maybe some other thing, maybe some heat due to electron movement or something, it does not really change what is supposed to come at the output. So the first criteria that we require for any system is that the system must be robust. It must be insensitive to parameter variations. It must be insensitive to noise variations, of course up to a certain limit, because after that you really have no control, even in for closed loop systems. So one thing is the system has to be robust. Number two, the system has to be accurate, in the sense that if there is something that has to happen, then the result should be as close as possible to that. For example, if you have to throw a missile from a plane and you have to throw it somewhere and it goes and falls 1 kilometer away from it, then it did fall on the ground, but was it of any use? No. So if a missile is falling maybe 0.5 meters from the target, it's acceptable, because the damage is going to be pretty much the same. So it doesn't have to go and fall on the roof of a house. It can fall in the veranda of the house. It will still have the same effect. So accuracy is very important. Another thing is stability. The system must be stable. It should be, when we talk of stability in terms of systems, we say that if they're giving an input which is bounded, the output should always be bounded. It should not be that, there is some sort of a chain reaction that happens and the output explodes or the device explodes. So something has to be stable as well. You will realize later that there is always a trade-off between accuracy and stability. If you target very high accuracy, you compromise stability. If you target very high stability, you compromise accuracy. So there always has to be a trade-off. We'll study it later. So there are a lot of things that we achieve when we move from an open loop system to a closed loop system. We get robustness, we get accuracy, we get stability, and we also can ensure that there is a proper balance between accuracy and stability. And of course, that obviously means that we are having a reasonable amount of control over noise variations, which we did not have in the open loop system. So yeah, in a way it does, but there are other things also.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Anything else? Is there anything? I hope you can see the screen.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. I will experiment with, okay, let me just see if I can actually do it. No, I don't. Let me try again. This is supposed to, take out everything. It's not working. I'll practice it maybe sometime. Let me just erase it the normal way. I guess this is sufficient amount of space. Okay. So of course this is lesson 3, closed loop. Control system. Now, as I said again, that once the noise becomes an issue, then it is possible that the control variable may not be in accordance to the command input or the objective, and we need to make some modifications. So we introduce a closed loop control system. So the closed loop control system is going to be something as follows. So you will have a controller to which there is a command input. You have an actuating signal, which is also called as objective, but I'm not writing it now. You have the control system, and here you have the control variable. So what we do is that we take a certain portion of the output, we sense it to a sensor, and it goes back into the controller. So this is a block diagram of a closed loop control system. So we're taking a certain portion of the output, we are sensing it through the sensor, and we are sending it back to the controller. So what is actually happening is as follows. A command input is given. So initially, suppose the first time you give a command input, so the signal goes to the controller, it gets converted into an actuating signal, control system works on it, and of course in this case there has to be some noise that must be a part of the system, and you get a controlled variable or a result which obviously does not match the command input. So what happens is that this controlled input is sensed by the sensor, and whatever is sensed goes back to the controller, and the error is calculated between the command input and the controlled variable. Now, if the controlled variable was in accordance to the input, this error would be 0. But because the controlled variable is not in accordance with the command input, there will be an error. That error will be fed to the controller, and it will produce accordingly a change in the actuating signal. And when this actuating signal will then again go into the control system, the hope is that the control variable will be much closer to the command input than before. And this process keeps on continuing till this error here in the controller is minimized or becomes close to zero or a negligible value. And once that happens, then this actuating signal will give you a control variable which will be in accordance to the command input. And this is basically what happens in a closed loop control system.
Sir,
Now-
can you fix it now?
Yeah, okay. So let's start from the beginning. So let's say that you give an initial command input. That command input enters into a controller and it goes into it. Okay, I'm just so sorry. It's my nephew who's calling me and he's distracting me. Just wait a minute and I'll be back. I'm so sorry. Just hold on. I'm coming like in 5 minutes. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so we have a command input. Assume that this is the first time we are operating the system. So this command input will go into a controller. It will produce an actuating signal. Now that actuating signal will go into the control system, but because there is noise, it will produce a control variable or the result which will not be in accordance to the command input. That means it will not match it. So what happens is that now it is not matching. So the control variable will be sensed by the sensor and it will go again into the controller, and there will be some sort of an error between command input and result which will be evaluated by this controller, and a proportional change will happen in the actuating signal. So all this is actually written in the notes. If you read it, I have written this in English. So, you know, if the English is something that you're not able to remember, you can just go back to the notes and understand it. But repeat again, the control variable is sensed and it goes into the controller, and the controller evaluates the deviation between the command input and the result or the control variable. And that deviation produces a proportional change in the actuating signal. Once that proportional change is made, and that actuating signal, which now becomes the new actuating signal, goes again into the control system in presence of noise, and it produces a result which is the new result. Now the expectation is, and generally this is what happens, that this new result is an improvement over the previous result. Now when this new result goes again and a new error is evaluated, it proportionally changes the actuating signal again. This actuating signal then again goes into the control system, produces another result which we call as new result, suppose. And now this, if is very much close to what the command input wanted, then we have a solution and the system would work. If it doesn't, then this keeps on happening again and again, till this error is less than equal to some epsilon, where this epsilon is an extremely small quantity. And that you know from the numerical methods, it could be 10 to the power minus 3, 10 to the power minus 4, so on and so forth. I don't know what has happened. Yeah, sorry. So this is basically what a closed loop control system does. It is some sort of a self-correcting mechanism. It is a self-correcting mechanism that exists. Now, not everything is, you know, what we call as hunky-dory with this closed loop control systems. If everything was working fine with the closed loop control system as well, then, you know, you may not have improvements, you may not have problems. Everybody would be able to devise a guided missile system. Everybody would be able to send satellites to space and track them and, you know, modify them or whatever. So what are the problems that come? The first problem in closed loop control systems are as follows. The first problem is sensor itself. An extra component gets added to the system. The system in the sense a system which is inclusive of the control system, and it adds more complexity to the system. So it becomes complex. Complexity increases. The sensors are often made up of entities of what we call as subcomponents or elementary entities which produce high frequency noise. Sensors are known to produce high frequency noise. I don't know where the word sensor went. Sensors are known to produce high frequency noise, and this in itself can be a problem. Of course, you can have filters to stop noise of high frequency, but then you again are introducing more complexity when you add filters. So sensors themselves can create a lot of problems, and I mean it's a necessary evil. You need to have them. They will introduce some problems, and you need to kind of deal with them and try to minimize them as far as possible. Then again, there is a tussle between accuracy and stability. So if accuracy will go up, stability will go down. If accuracy will go down, stability will go up. So basically what we are trying to do, we are trying to find a trade-off. That we keep accuracy at a certain level and stability at a certain level, and everybody is happy. So basically this is what a closed loop control system is all about in this preliminary discussion of closed loop and open loop control systems. So in all these 3 lectures, I will summarize again. We have discussed what in essence is a control system. We have also discussed some examples of control systems, and they are pretty much everywhere is the point that I wanted to make. Then we have discussed what are the types of control systems. There are 2 types. You have an open loop control system, you have a closed loop control system. Open loop control systems are very simple, but if noise goes beyond a certain level, then they are of no use. They have become pretty much useless. But there are some systems which are open loop. We will come to that. Then obviously, because open loop control systems are not catering to every need and aspiration, we have closed loop control systems which are self-correcting, so they are an improvement. They make the system more robust, accurate and stable, but we need to keep a trade-off between accuracy and stability. And here also there are some problems because you have sensors which introduce high frequency noise, filters come into picture, and the overall complexity of the entire system increases. Alright, so I stop the lecture here, and we actually end the lecture here for control systems today, and we will meet in the next lecture and carry forward. If there are any questions, you can quickly ask. Just otherwise, we disperse and we meet in the next class. I will put up videos for these 3 lectures and some more videos. Now I think I have the equipments and the softwares to create videos, so you'll get videos before the next lecture. Are there any doubts? All right, thank you. And all the people who are in DSP should come to the DSP class by 7:45, and we'll have a class till 8:30. Okay. All right. Thank you. Bye. Bye. Bye.